everybody? What's going on out there? What's going on? Wanted to come by and talk about developing myself in these times that we're living in today. What do I mean by that? Developing myself in these times that we're in today. So, pretty much, some tough times right now the world's going through. Um, but, like I said, I'm not a celebrity, I'm just a regular person. But even in that, you have to always remember that you're developing yourself, whether indirectly or directly, whether it's spiritually, mentally, or physically. You're developing yourself, good, bad, indifferent. Everything that you take on to expose yourself to, you're developing yourself in a way, whether you want to believe it or not. When I started to learn this about myself, it changed the way that I thought about things, changed the way that I looked at things, and it changed my whole outlook pretty much on life. So, as a husband, a father, a son, I would say to anybody, any young man out there, when you become an adult, whether you have the support or don't have the support, you still have to develop yourself. You still have to find the things that make you better. You still have to find the things that you can thrive and excel on, whether you have support or whether you don't. For those who are thinking about marriage, I would tell you to make sure that you work on yourself first. Not saying you're going to be perfect, but work on the point where you can progress. And I'm saying that because when you get married and you become one with another person, while you're becoming one, both parties still have to work on their individual development as well, spiritually as well. Husband has things he has to work on. A wife has things that she has to work on. There is no automatic cruise, there is no cruise control. It's work. And I heard this somewhere, I think online, but it says that um, love, you have to build up love. A love builds, but lust will destroy you. And we have to be careful about that because if you build a relationship on lust instead of love, you can destroy a relationship. Love will build you, lust will destroy you. If you go into something with the mindset of loving it or building the love, you can build it. Because work, it takes work to build something. But if you go into it with a mindset of lust, it will destroy you because lust, you can't satisfy lust. It only grows and grows, and your desires want what it want. And if you don't control yourself or have the discipline to not give in to your lust, you will build a path of destruction for yourself. I'm telling you from experience. So, with that being said, universal individual development. So, first thing, pay attention to the cost of things rising. Pay attention. Don't sleep on it. Gas is rising up slowly, it's creeping on up. Another thing is grocery store costs are rising up. I went to make a short run today, and I think I may have gotten maybe 15 items, 10 items, something like that. I may post it later on my page, but $70, I think. $70. Basic stuff. $70. Why am I saying this? Things, inflation never stops rising. It never stops. Think about the average apartment. I'm talking about the average good apartment. You may be looking at $900 and up, and that's for the average like apartment, not the ones where you feel like super safe. The ones that are super safe and really nice, you may be looking at $1,200 to $1,500 a month. But when you start getting to below that, you start living inner city apartments, or apartments where you don't feel as safe on the spectrum of safe. You may be like a safe, maybe like a 6 versus like a 8 or 9. Those apartments are still expensive. You probably still looking at $800-900 for those apartments. You want to go out to eat? You may be spending $60, averaging about $60. And that's going to go up. As food and costs rise, that's going to go up. So being able to live around those parameters, live below your means, is going to be important, in my opinion, going forward. If you got any kind of, we'll go to the next slide. Awareness and discernment is the top priority in this time we in now. You got to have awareness and discernment. You got to be aware of what's going on as far as costs. You got to be aware of where to get things, if things need to be got. Let's say we was talking about this on the podcast. Make sure to check out their podcast, Thinking Game Podcast. Talk about regular people topics. But I was telling them, where to get tires. Like if you have a flat tire. Tires used to be relatively cheap. But certain size tires now, you're looking at $100. There's just no warranty, just a flat fee. $100 a tire. And that's a car. If you have a truck, it may be more than that, depending on where you go. But being able to know where to find the deals on stuff, being able to know where to grocery shop at where it won't be as expensive, to know where to buy certain things. You may have to buy certain things here. You might have to buy another certain things there. You have to have the awareness and the discernment to realize, wait a minute, the eggs are going up here, but if I go here, they are way cheaper than going here. And you have to be able to plan out what you're cooking. It's no more buying stuff that you're not going to use. You got to be smart. I'm not buying something that it's just going to sit in the refrigerator and spoil out. You got to buy stuff that you're going to use, or you're going to be wasting money. So have the awareness. Have the awareness to understand what's going on. Another thing I noticed when I went to Walmart is that ever since they've been doing this thing, they've been posting everywhere, everybody been seeing it, the deportation. I went into Walmart, and anybody that know about Walmart, usually it's crowded. It's like a lot of people in there around this time. Everybody trying to get their stuff done for the week. But I noticed when I went in there, it was really slow. It was so slow that the cashiers was just waiting on people to come to their line. And anybody in the Walmart know that most of the time Walmart is pretty packed out. You have to wait in line because they don't have all the lanes open. You be waiting in line to try to check out. But it was relatively slow for a Walmart on a Sunday evening or whatever. So, awareness wise, that lets me know that people are mindful of being out in the open. People are mindful of people getting swept up by ICE or whatever they call you, ICE, and, the FBI and stuff like that. People that's deporting people. People are being mindful of that. So you may see a lot of places that have high traffic. It may be low traffic, and if that happens over a period of time, it's going to raise the cost up even more because the high traffic of people that was buying things kind of balanced out the cost. But if less people shop, less people buy things, things are going to go up. That's awareness in this. I'm just telling you something that I just saw just a couple hours ago going to the store. So, the next slide is it is never too late to develop yourself. Take it from a guy who just graduated at 41 in December, working on his master's. Lord willing, take this LSAT test, being enrolled in law school in the fall. Never too late. But what I will say is better to do it when you're younger. When you have the time, you have the energy, and you have the will. Way better to do it younger. Easier to retain things because you're not trying to study, then trying to live life. Much easier to go to these classes and work at the same time because you have less responsibilities. You don't have kids. You're not married. You don't own a house. You don't own multiple cars. You trying when you're younger, less responsibilities. You can have more willpower or resources in your brain to devote towards developing. So when that time comes, you can be ready for the opportunities that come your way. Telling you from experience, I've had a lot of opportunities that I couldn't take advantage of because I didn't have myself developed enough to be able to get in position to take advantage of the opportunity. So that's why I'm telling you it's never too late to develop yourself. And I understand school may not be for everybody, but guess what? It's something for everybody to increase your value on the job market. Whether say it's an apprenticeship, whether it's a vocation, whether it's some kind of certification, there is something for everybody to do. We have to stop the sentiment saying we don't have to do this, we don't have to do that. That's not the play. The more skills you have and the more that you can sell those skills, that's what's going to be the key. In my time of working in the corporate world, I know they say they're taking away DEI, but I'm telling you, in order to increase your chances, you have to increase your skills. Can't stress it enough. You can be so skilled that people will overlook their biases or whatever they're dealing with because they need that skill in order to thrive and they will pay you for it. You can negotiate it out, but you got to have the skill. Just having enough just to get by, not going to work. You got to have the skill. Unless you just want to keep working the minimum wage or a little bit over minimum wage jobs. But when you start getting past the 45 and 50 mark, it started becoming more skill based jobs. The easy jobs don't pay as much. They definitely don't pay as much now. I'm telling you, easy is not always the way. Challenge yourself. Focus on your development and maintain what you have now. To anybody who wants to be financially independent, to anybody who wants to financially get ahead, this is not the time to try to keep up with the Joneses. It's not.
It's always business, never personal.
We have to get off of the keeping up with the Joneses, trying to have a status or want this kind of car. This ain't the time for that. I think the average car note now was maybe $800-900. Who wants to pay that every month? That's a lot to pay out every month. Even if you're making six figures, why would you still want to pay out that much money every month? It's a lot to pay out every month. You could be putting that into a Roth IRA or something. Who knows? Focus on developing yourself. Find something that you can learn to challenge yourself, even if it's something, the little detailed things. Learn how to use a computer for your benefit. Learn how to use AI for your benefit. You don't have to be in tech to use AI. You can use AI to make you templates for something that you do every day. Use AI to help you find out about some stuff that you normally wouldn't go through the whole process of researching. It cuts down that time to have to read through 10 books to find one answer versus just asking the question the right way and it gives you the answer and you can move on to the next thing. Maintaining what you have. I don't need the newest car. I don't need the newest house. Do I really need that or do I want that? One of the hardest things about maintaining what you have is fighting the desire to want something new. Everybody goes through it. I go through it. But I have to discipline myself and understand through awareness and discernment that it's not the thing that I need right now. I don't need it. But we want it our way. You want what you want, and you're not thinking about the repercussions of what it's going to cost you later. We have to get past that. We do. We have to get past that. I even tell myself that all the time. You don't need the newest tech off Amazon. I used to want the newest tech off Amazon all the time. But I have since disciplined myself to not want those things at this point in time. It's all about development, finishing school, getting this education journey out the way, and then vet my opportunities at that point. And listen, I gotta say this as anybody that's when you focusing on your development, even if you have people supporting you or people backing you, you still as an individual have to go out and perform. No different than an NBA game. You got the crowd behind you, you got the home field advantage, but you still have to go out and perform and win the game on the court. Like my family supports me. My wife, my kids, my family, my brothers, grew up with, they support me, but guess what? I still have to go to class. I still have to do the homework. I still have to make the grades. I still have to do my part. And that's what I mean by universal individual development. Everybody that's living on this earth, you're a human, you have to develop. You're responsible for your development. When you get to a certain point, past 17, you become an adult, you are responsible for your development. No more blame game, no more what you didn't have. You have the ability to go get once you become an adult. And what you don't know, you have the ability to learn it. Now that the streets are getting hot, people are hurting out here. This ain't the time to flex. This ain't the time to be out here flexing. It could bring trouble your way that you don't want. Nobody's saying that you're scared. Nobody's saying that you're weak. It's just, do you want the unnecessary drama? This ain't the time for it. I know some people gonna be on social media with the fake money on their ears and stuff and all this stuff and APs.
They told me bust out my AP. Perfect time, man.
But I'm telling you, this ain't it. Be careful out here when you're moving around. Watch how you're moving around and be aware where you're moving around to. Because I'm telling you, the streets is watching. And you got to be careful about how you moving. It's a whole new world out here. And it's fit to get even newer as we keep moving through 2025. And this ain't the time to flex. I promise you it's not. It's the time to develop. It's the time to grow. And it's the time to execute. Last slide, and I'm about to sign out this thing. Not being able to maximize your ability because of your attitude. What's your attitude in 2025? Something I had to work on in my 20s. I had to change my attitude. My attitude towards women was different in my 20s versus now my attitude towards people was different. Like if I'm gonna find my resume. I think probably I need to write that down. The next one I do is with my resume. And I'm gonna make some key points on the things that I learned. Like what was my mindset? What I learned and what were some of the mistakes I was making or things that I was doing at that time that was hindering me that I didn't know at that time, just be ignorant. And these are the jobs I worked before I got into tech. Because what I want to do is to show you that you may not be where you want to be, but if you just keep moving and keep grinding, but add development into it, which I wasn't doing, if you add that development piece into it, you will get better over time and you won't even realize it until it happens. You're like, wow, I'm glad I put in that time. Just like now, I see the value now that I've worked over time. Not only just working in tech, but as a husband, as a father, as a family member, as a friend. I hope that I bring value to people that's around me or that I come into contact with. I don't want I didn't realize that when you're younger, you want to be, but anytime somebody talks to you, you want to be able to give them value or give them insight. And I hope that's what I'm doing with this content, giving somebody insight, giving somebody value. Because like I said, I wish I could have had these conversations with somebody when I was in that 20, 21 range. Even though I know that I was super arrogant and super confident, and most guys are, it's because you don't ever want to get taken advantage of or get in a situation to where it's hard to get out of. And when you're growing up in the inner city, you don't want to be looked at as a person somebody can take advantage of. And a lot of things you learn quicker in the city that people don't really realize too. You get that. I got that a lot. You think you know everything. Oh man, you think you know everything. But guess what? Some people that tell you that, they're not telling you anything. So if you're not telling me anything, you're not showing me anything, what am I supposed to do? As a young 20, 21-year old, the things that I see, the adults that I see, are not giving the best inspiration or the best enthusiasm of what to do. So what am I supposed to do at this point? And a lot of times people don't think about that. What is your kid exposed to on a daily basis or once they become an adult? What are they around? Who are they around? My mom used to tell me this all the time. You got to be careful who you hang around or who you're around. But I even learned sometimes you can't control who you're around, and you have to have a filter of what you take in and what goes out. You got to have a filter. You cannot take in everything that you see. You cannot take in everything that you're exposed to. You just can't. Because it could be detrimental. Put that on one of my podcast topics. Filtering what you're exposed to. Sometimes you have to filter. I need to make a whole episode on that. Filtering what you're exposed to. Having the discipline to do that. Because sometimes some kids grow up around the neighborhood hustlers or the neighborhood dope dealers, but you got to filter out. Selling dope ain't the way, but you don't have a choice. That's who you're around. But there's other things that you can learn as far as the tangible skills of being able to communicate with people, being able to build understanding is who you know. It's little skills inside of the dark skills that people do that you can learn, but you got to filter out the dope part. Like, I don't need to sell dope, but I can learn how to talk to people. I can learn how to deal with people I probably don't want to deal with because this is the only way that I'm going to get to where I'm trying to get to. And it all based on your attitude. If you don't have a flexible attitude to be able to be objective in life, you'll find yourself in tough positions. You'll find yourself being isolated. And then if you got the wrong attitude, you'll blame everybody else but yourself. I've been there. Blamed everybody else for the stuff that I was doing. And until I took accountability and told myself, Mike, you're bugging. You need to get it right. There was nothing anybody could have told me, anybody could have done until I was accountable for Mike, for me. And if anybody hears this part, please be self-accountable. The more self-accountable you are, the less you hear people talking to you about what you're doing. Your results speak for themselves. Nobody has to know you. All they have to do is see your results to know what you got going on. Nobody has to judge a book by its cover. All they need to see is your results. Just like in business, they don't have to know what you do every day as a business. All they got to do is see your balance sheet. Do your assets equal your liability and equity? The results speak volumes about the things that you've done, the things that you're doing, and what's to come for you, the results. You can hide the things that you do. You can hide your personality probably to a degree until people know you. But what you can't hide is the results. A manipulator can't hide the results because everything around them is in disarray. And people, they always have people around them that depend on them for something. They never cultivate people to be self-reliant and move as a unit. It's always they have to come to them for the answer or depend on them. That's the result. A person who's self-reliant and independent, the result is they may thrive and flourish, but guess what? A lot of people may not fool with them like that because they're driven to do great things, and everybody just don't move the same way. I get it. An entrepreneur has a different result on how they move. Another thing is being a creative person. They move different. I can make a whole podcast about that. A person that's driven and a person that's creative, they don't operate like the regular person do. But we have to have a flexible enough attitude to understand when you come into contact with people, there are millions of people in this world and everybody don't think the same. There may be similarities, but it won't come out totally the same. But it's all about attitude and it's all about perspective. So with that being said, this is Mike, because I can keep talking for hours, but I wanted to make this for my channel. Developing myself in these times. How do I do that? Because the times could be, depending on where you are on the spectrum, it could be tough, it could be fair, it could be great. But there's no in life, it could change at any time. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for hitting that like button. I'm signing out. Universal Individual Development.